Good evening, fight fans. It's the Religion Broadcasting Network Alternative Commentary. Tonight, we are doing Oscar Valdez versus Adam Lopez because Mr. Gutierrez, boy, did he miss weight. Ooh, doggy. And Carl Frampton versus McCreary, Tyler McCreary. Both. We have a featherweight and a super featherweight match here, both at 10 rounds apiece on ESPN Plus, brought to you by Top Rank. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm losing my voice, Mr. Mark Radulich. And joining me again, as he did last month, oh so graciously, it's from Boxing and Brews, Mr. Jon War. How you doing, sir?
I'm great, Mark. Hello, fight fans, fight family. Good night of boxing, some elite fighters tonight, man. So it should be a good night of fights. Well, before the missed weight.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second as Carl Frampton starts his walk to the ring. So this undercard, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but if you haven't, man, they lit it up. There was one KO after another. And there were two decisions, but that last decision, in my opinion, humble as it is, was Roadhouse.
You talking about Adames?
Yeah, Teixeira Adames. Patrick Teixeira won a unanimous decision against Carlos Adames. It was a knockdown, I believe, in the 7th round that put him over the top. Apparently, Adames had never been knocked down before, and he looked it. He looked positively flabbergasted.
Yeah, I agree. But I will say I'm kind of with you. Up until that point, I feel like he should have been well ahead on those cards. He was winning that fight until he started losing it. I feel like he did lose the latter half of that fight. But for the most part, I felt like Adames did what he was supposed to do. And, Teixeira was game. He was game from the get-go.
Yeah, Teixeira's face looked like it went through the cheese grater.
Yes, for sure.
But that didn't seem to stop him. He was like, man, I get cut all the time. What difference does it make?
I've seen Teixeira. He's hard to get out of there.
Sure, he was game. And you know what? Good on him, man. Now he's whatever title that was, WBO, whatever. Yeah. As I said to my son, I'm pretty sure he has a title and it's vacated. It's both.
When he won it, I went through my head. I said, wait. How does he have one? So I had to go through the champions in my head real quick and say, oh, okay. It's one of those belts.
Yeah. There's just a real rip through the card here. Andy Hirakoa had a TKO in the second round against Rogelio Cesares. Guido Vianello had a first-round KO of Colby Madison, 44 seconds. Good God. Larry Gomez had a split decision against Brian Mendoza. That was kind of a firefight. Xander Zayas had a second-round TKO over Virgin Winfield, who I think wants to do a different career now. He looked like he looked like he wanted to do something else in life.
Yes, for sure.
And then the aforementioned Teixeira versus Adames. All right, so tell me in 50 words or less as this fight starts to get underway, what do you expect here in this first round? We're going to do both fights tonight. Both Carl Frampton and Tyler McCreary, and then we'll do the Oscar Valdez versus Adam Lopez. So let's start with Frampton McCreary.
Yeah, I expect Frampton to come forward, throw a lot of punches. McCreary is a boxer in the truest sense of the form. He keeps that right hand close to the chin. He's going to block those lefts coming from Frampton. It should be a good fight. If Frampton can put together some punches, stay out of trouble, he should win on the cards. I am not calling for a knockout. I don't see that happening. But I do see Frampton trying to put together a showcase. You know how Top Rank is. He moved up. He's trying to go for Jamal Herring. There's a lot of names at that 130 pounds. So Frampton, to get those names, he's going to have to show me something tonight. And if he can show me something against McCreary, well, then by all means, get one of those bigger names at 130.
All right, and here we go with round one. Fighters meet in the middle. We see Frampton kind of circling to the outside. What's the strategy here with McCreary being the taller fighter for Frampton?
I think McCreary's going to he's going to stay behind the jab. I believe McCreary is going to try to stay tall. He's not going to gate his height against Frampton. Frampton's going to try to come in. I expect McCreary to be a counterpuncher tonight, and hopefully he can land the right counterpunch. At least his team is hoping that he can.
Frampton went to the body there, and McCreary just shook his head. Nope, sir.
Yeah,
you have to do better than that.
Round one, I expect these guys are just filling each other out, trying to figure out what's going to happen. I expect Carl to show his experience and pedigree later. However, McCreary is good. He's athletic. He's twitchy. So I think we're in for a good fight.
Both fighters are still feeling each other out here. Frampton comes with that left double jab. He's kind of poking it out there. He scored at that time with it. He kind of faked with the right and then nailed him with a double jab with the left.
And I think that's where McCreary might have some trouble, is that Frampton's going to be offensive. You know what I mean? He's going to know the times of the fight. He's going to know when I need to attack, when I need to show the judges that I'm in control. And if he hurts McCreary, I expect Frampton to jump all over him. But again, early rounds, I expect them just to be filling each other out.
Yeah, I would imagine it's going to take a little while for this to really get cooking.
Right. And then, I don't know, Frampton moved up in weight. I don't know when the last time he fought 10 rounds, but I'm assuming that this is going to be in his favor, a 10-round fight.
He's doing as you said he would do. He's really getting behind that jab, though McCreary has been kind of swatting them away.
Yeah.
Okay, good triple jab, kind of backs him into the corner, but then he laid off, and McCreary just kind of danced out of the corner there.
Yeah. Not many combos from either fighters yet, so until we start seeing 3 or 4 punches put together, it's going to be difficult for anyone to make any kind of progress. There we see Frampton throw a couple twos behind those ones.
Frampton really utilizing that lead left, but as you said, he's not really following up with good combinations using the right hand. He's just throwing a lot with the left, and occasionally he hits with it, but then there's no follow-up, and that is the end of round one.
Yeah, good round for both the fighters, just trying to see what each other has. I expect the second round to both fighters to start, especially Frampton, I expect them to start trying to set up some punches, at least for the next upcoming rounds, if not the second round.
I would say you have to give that one to call Frampton, if nothing else, for activity level. McCreary was very defensive. He was not particularly offensive.
And as the fight started, McCreary was the forward fighter, but if you noticed, not even halfway through, Frampton was walking him down, and McCreary was on the back foot. McCreary's going to be on the back foot most of the fight. That's his style. I don't know what he has in his tool belt that's going to keep Frampton away from him.
A rangy, leggy fighter like McCreary, I'd like to see him I'd like to see him push Frampton into kind of a firefight at distance. Use his reach.
Yes. Yeah, I would like to see him 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 3. I don't see a lot of activity coming from McCreary. I see him being almost a complete counterpuncher, which is not going to help him on the cards.
No. I'd also think you would want to make, Frampton coming and being the bigger name here, being the guy that the spotlight's on. That's who this fight was made for, as we talked about before. If you're McCreary, you want to take that all away from Frampton. Ugly this up a bit. Man, see, Frampton kind of pushed him back into the ropes there, and then they immediately tied up.
I don't get that from some B-sides. There's no title on the line. I get that. But, I understand you want to stay true to who you are and have integrity, but go fight. Sometimes you just got to go fight.
Yeah.
And you have to take it from Frampton, and I just don't see McCreary being that type of boxer. When last time I saw Frampton lose was the Warrington, and Warrington goes and he takes it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's the old Mike Tyson things. Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Exactly. So even this round, you see Frampton doing a lot more activity while moving forward. McCreary still, like I said, he's going to block some of those. He's going to catch some of those punches, but you're going to catch 2 in a 4-punch combination. You're still going to get hit twice.
If you're like a Shakur Stevenson or a Floyd Mayweather, where you can punch off your back foot with a lot, with a lot of circling, a lot of movement, all power to you. That's fine.
Right.
But unless you're one of those two guys who can employ that kind of style, this is not the kind of fight you want to do. This is not how you win rounds.
No. And I don't. Maybe he feels with McCreary's background and his experience and amateur experience, he thinks he can win on the cards this way. But that's just not prize fighting. The A side is going to more than likely win those close rounds. He's throwing more effective punches. Even if it's just a jab, he's tripling that jab up and landing 2 to the face. So McCreary really has to go for it. Starting from the beginning. You can't wait to the second half of the fight. You got to go now.
So if you're listening to this, whether you're driving or, doing laundry or whatever, folks, and you're like, well, they're not really calling the fight. It's because not a whole lot's happening. Frampton has been doing exactly what he did in the first round. Other than the only real change this round has McCreary tied him up a little bit more.
Right. Nothing really doing in the second round. Again, I think a lot of more, still a fill-out round. I expect the action to start picking up these round 3 to 6.
Did you get a chance to watch the other fights today? The one on DAZN, which was Buteyv versus Besputin, and then the other one on ESPN, which I believe was Tet versus Koziaro.
So I did see Zolani Tete. I did not get to see Besputin. I don't really remember. I think my times got crossed up, and I ended up missing that in the DAZN card. But, man, the Zolani Tete fight was very surprising. I knew Tete had some flaws, but I did not expect that outcome tonight.
So I know that was a 3-round. Was a KO. And I caught the clips of it that people posted on Twitter. I watched the entire Buteyv Besputin card from beginning to end, and that was a fun fight. DAZN, it's not perfect, and today they were having some wonky issues. But once those things get settled, I enjoy the fights on DAZN. It's not perfect, nothing ever is, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I love all. I like ESPN Plus. I like Fox. I like Showtime. I like DAZN. Just give me the fights, and you know what? Give me good fights. And DAZN, they've given me a lot of fights. They're giving me fights coming up still toward the end of the year. So
and we will talk about that later.
Absolutely, good deal. It's a great right hand by Frampton.
Yes, they're actually showing it on the replay now as we were talking about the other fights. He nailed him with that overhand.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be what Frampton's going to do. He's going to land that right to the head. He's going to land that right to the body as well. And I don't see McCreary coming back with anything except for trying to get in and hold when Frampton attacks.
So one of the things I've noticed with McCreary is that occasionally he will throw that right out there, that straight right, and he'll try to use his reach, but Frampton's not an easy target, apparently. He's doing a lot of movement, not necessarily circling and working off his back feet, but he'll stay in the pocket and just slip the jab, shuffle his shoulders, and McCreary's having a hard time finding the target.
Yeah, Frampton, with his experience, with his pedigree, he really understands range. He really understands his range. So he's going to, do some things with the feet with him and a fighter. He's going to know how close he can get, and he's going to know where he needs to, just like that, he's going to know where he needs to be to lunge in and land that 1-2. So McCreary's got, not only is he fighting a fighter that's game, but he's fighting a fighter that, knows the tricks, is smart, and knows everything he needs to do to win. It's a tough code to crack.
I think McCreary, the frustration starting to build with McCreary is doesn't quite know what to do with this guy.
No. I see a lot of shelling up. I see Frampton, moving around the ring freely, making McCreary miss. McCreary's the boxer. He's the slick guy, but Frampton's the one making him miss all the punches.
Yeah, Frampton, not that I think he came into this with any doubt, but his confidence is starting to build over this round, and he's not taking chances necessarily, but he's getting more aggressive. Yeah. He's starting to see where, he's starting to read this guy well enough as that round ends that I think you're going to start to see Frampton start to really turn it on over these next 2-3 rounds.
Yeah. In the round 3, I didn't see much from McCreary. I see, like you said, Frampton's very comfortable. I think over those first 2 rounds and that third round, he realized who McCreary is and what he has, and he's not very moved by McCreary. So I think it's only going to get worse for McCreary going forward, to the point where, Frampton might go for a stoppage here. No, maybe not this round, but in this fight.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I know, especially early on in a boxer's career, they want to see you work. I mean, quick knockdowns are fun for fans, but your tough matches come in 10, 11, 12-round fights, and they want to see if you can go the distance. Your higher-level opponents, and certainly, unless you have a situation where, like a Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz, where you just nail a guy, you got to work for 12 rounds. So I don't know if Frampton necessarily wants to put this guy away, if in this co-main event showcase fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know what exactly. Like they said, Frampton was almost a year, not quite a year, so it has been a while. He probably does want to get some quality rounds under his belt. However, like they just showed, Herring is there. He wants a title fight at this weight. He wants the big names at this weight. And, to get that, you got to give the people what they want. So maybe trying to go for a spectacular stoppage of some sort would do him well. However, you do want to come out of this unscathed. So I think Frampton's best bet is just to win, and to win, in good fashion.
Nice. He took the back there well. Wrong sport.
Yeah. Yeah, Frampton's really showing some good boxing skills in this fight. This seems to be a good matchup for him. He looks really good so far through these 4 rounds. Comfortable.
McCreary's trying to almost bully him. Not totally. It's not really having much of an effect, but he's definitely trying to put his weight on Frampton. He's tying him up. He's grabbing him around. I don't necessarily think he wants to box anymore with Frampton. I think he wants to kind of push him around and see if he'll make a mistake that he can capitalize on.
Yeah, I see. He's trying to. Frampton's just doing a good job of punching in between McCreary's punches.
Yeah, he landed a couple of good body shots there.
Yeah, doesn't really seem to have an answer for it. Can't really out-time Frampton, it seems. Frampton just seems to be on a higher level in this fight.
The other thing that McCreary is doing, as I said, that was 2 tie-ups in a row, one of which he had him in a headlock, which is fantastic. Mm-hmm. I think one of those things is he's trying to break Frampton's rhythm. He's trying to push him off his pace.
And one thing that I'm seeing with that is that maybe McCreary went in thinking he was going to be the stronger guy, but Frampton is moving McCreary around the ring, not backing up, absorbing everything McCreary does land, if he does land it. So that seems to be something that is in Frampton's favor as well. He's stronger than McCreary realized.
Yeah, Frampton's got superior technique.
Yes.
So obviously he's got experience. I mean, no kidding. So I think McCreary's corner, and I think independently he's like, I gotta boxing with Frampton's not getting me anywhere, so I gotta ugly this up a bit, and make this more of a brawl because he's not getting anywhere going punch for punch with a guy as evasive as Frampton.
Right. But brawling with Frampton, that's something he's good at too. So it's almost like what McCreary's corner has to figure out what he does better than Frampton. And at this point of the fight, it doesn't seem like there's much that he does better, but maybe his corner knows. And whatever that is, they need to implement it now because Frampton is, I wouldn't say he's totally dominating the fight, but he's winning comfortably.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a single round you can give to McCreary at this point.
No, not at all.
Good. On the replay, good shot to the body there.
Yeah, I don't see anything changing. I need McCreary to show something. Otherwise, have a long seat on that corner stool.
We are now into round 5. Frampton's at 28% for total punches landed, and McCreary's at 19. So math-wise, even in the stats, Frampton is leading the fight against McCreary. And here we're starting to see a bit of a firefight.
Yeah, McCreary's letting his hands go. Hands to the body, which is good. Doesn't seem to last that long, but he is letting them go a little bit.
Well, Frampton's got a lot, as you said before, Frampton's got a lot of power. And I have the sneaking suspicion, without really knowing McCreary's record, McCreary wasn't a very hittable fighter, and now he's getting hit a lot, and I don't think he loves it.
Yeah, McCreary is undefeated, has one tie, but I guarantee you nobody on his resume is a Carl Frampton. So, so that's the thing about it. You can fight a lot of guys, but it's only one or two guys that you have to fight that will change your life or your career. And so, seems to be that McCreary is in the ring with one of those guys right now.
Well, some fighters have that like professional wrestling mentality of go ahead and hit me real good. I love it. Let's throw hands. Let's get brutal. And some guys are boxers. Some guys get in there and the object is to not get hit. And then when they do, they don't love it. They they like to be the hitter, not the hitty. Oh, nice body shot from the left from Frampton.
Them up big time. Wow, that was a big body shot. Frampton really working on that body, dedicated to it, and it seems to be paying off.
Sure. So I tell my son all the time, you can't breathe. You can't fight if you can't breathe.
Exactly. McCreary does his shell up, which doesn't. He seems to fight well out of his high guard shell, but he just sits there and takes too many of Frampton's punches while he does it.
Well, he's leaning a lot on the idea of let me shell up, take a combo from Frampton, and then I'll knock him out with an uppercut. Hasn't worked yet, but boy, does he keep trying. I mean, when I tell you he's knocked on that door 3 times in this one round.
Yeah. Frampton really is working McCreary's body. Now, if you notice, McCreary, he never really stayed dedicated to that jab, and then he started working to the body because he's down on the cards and it became a fight. If he had stayed behind that jab, this would be a whole nother fight. Maybe a lot more boring, but I think that it would be a whole nother trajectory for McCreary in this fight. It's unfortunate because he can't beat Frampton at this game.
Yeah, he looks like he was really trying to test the guy's chin, McCreary, and I'm pretty sure Carl Frampton's been hit once or twice.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. By brawlers, punchers too. So, yeah, McCreary's corner. I wish I could hear what they were saying, but they got to come up with now it's time to implement Plan B. 10-round fight, Plan B. What you got?
So I want to take this opportunity while there's a break in the fight here. About a week or so ago, we covered the Luis Ortiz Deontay Wilder 2 fight, and the first shot of the KO that we saw when it was live the way, the angle on that fight, it didn't look like Deontay Wilder really hit him at all, and he just flopped. And so, infamously, that's all anyone's been calling us out on. we got all kinds of comments about it. Now, when they changed the angle, we walked that back, and they're like, "Oh no!" Like it was actually
body shot. He stayed dedicated to the body.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna get our second body shot KO of the night.
And those body shots, I mean, it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Oh, good luck. Frampton is not going to let up. This might be it. This might be what he needs to get that big fight on Top Rank against that heavier weight.
I wasn't quite sure he was going to get up again. He was just sort of squatted there, looking perturbed.
Yeah, but I guarantee you he's still hurting, and he's still trying to find all that breath. Another body shot.
Frampton has found his strategy, and he is sticking to it.
Yeah. And as a smaller fighter, I agree. As a powerful fighter, one who's not afraid to stand in that pocket and brawl, man, I think it's a great strategy, and it is definitely paying off.
Yeah, if you can chop him down at the waist, in the body, I mean, the head, he might give you the head, and then you can get that knockout, but the work is in the body.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem with a lot of fighters is that they just want to headhunt. They just want, they're so crazy for that knockout. They'll go after the head, after the head, after the head. It's like, well, you got to chop the tree down first.
Exactly. And even going back to the body, you hear somebody to the body, go back to the body.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those body shots are really difficult to get up from.
Yes, as I said earlier in the night, one of the KOs earlier in the night was a body shot KO. It looked really good.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't even realize. That's how it was with that Deontay for me. When I saw it live, I was like, wait, that was it? And then they showed the replay. I was like, oh, he really took his whole skull.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I mean, one of the guys I was doing commentating with at that time was like, I don't think he wanted to get up anymore. He probably could have, but he decided he was done, which, no matter how many ways you slice it, it was still a knockout.
Yeah, right. Oh.
Nice little dirty boxing there from Frampton. You want to grab my arm? That's fine. I'll punch you upside the head.
McCreary's recovered, it seems physically, but it seems at this point he's surviving. He knows it's 6th round. I got 3 more rounds. I'm down on the cards. There's a knockdown. At this point, I believe he's trying to hear that last bell.
Yeah, he's probably shook up pretty well mentally. And at this point, maybe he just doesn't want to get knocked out anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he's stretching for that finish line. I need his corner to, give him some constructive instructions, something that's going to change it up, because I'm not seeing any change in his style of the fight, and that's just not acceptable for me.
These fighters on a come up, these opportunities to be on TV and in a prime spot like this. You take your shot, and sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah. And at this point, finish strong. You never know what the next opportunity is going to be. So you definitely don't want to give up. You don't want to quit. As a fighter, as someone who has never lost, like I said, he is undefeated, he doesn't want to get stopped. But you also still need to give us a quality showing for the rest of this fight.
Right. So there we see on the replay 1-2 to the body on each side, and he just took his win from him.
Yeah. Getting hit on that right side is, that's a dangerous affair. So, still in the pocket with Frampton, still throwing punches.
Yeah, now look at that. See, now he's done. He's done messing around. He is just winging punches. And Frampton,
go for broke, man.
Yeah,
what's the worst that can happen?
No, I love the urgency. Too many times, and I see this all the time in MMA, you've lost the first 2, in a 3-round fight, you've lost the first 2 rounds, and then you're equally, if not more, tentative in the 3rd round. It was like, what are you doing? Why?
At this point, yeah. So now I'm worried. Now I'm worried about McCreary's tank because he let a flurry of punches go in that first minute, and I haven't seen much from him since.
We are in round 7 of 10 here as the fight inches towards the end. And yeah, so far, not a single round. I mean, Frampton's pitching a shutout.
Absolutely. He still looks bouncy, looks fresh. Still throwing that jab out. He's in complete control. He's a fighter in control.
I'll be curious to see in the scorecards if they have it any other way, but 100-90.
Yeah, I'm not really. I mean, I don't know. If you were going to give McCreary a round, it would be this round, and he hasn't done anything after the first 30 seconds.
Right.
So I don't really know what his plan is going forward. I don't really know at this point. He has to go for a knockout, and that's not the kind of fighter he is.
Oh, keep your hands up, for God's sakes, McCreary.
Yeah, so the way he's acting makes me wonder. He's clearly in shape, clearly a lifelong boxer, but some people just don't have the tank to fight that way. And dropping your hands, grabbing, holding, it's just making me wonder what exactly is going on at this point.
Well, to credit to both fighters, they're still bouncing. They're still lively on their feet. This isn't like the heavyweight fight I saw between Zhang and I can't even remember Rudikin, something like that.
Oh yeah.
Ugh. Well, they were fighting in molasses apparently.
Yeah.
It was 2 zombies hugging it out.
So that's the end of the round. It's been a wash for Frampton so far. McCreary's got 2 rounds to come out here and try to do something. 3 rounds come out here and try to do something.
So as they go backstage, Valdez and Lopez are warming up, getting their final preparations ready. Now, they say that Gutierrez made all of his pre-weight check-ins and then somehow blew up 11 pounds. You have any insight there?
No. Like they said on the broadcast, maybe Thanksgiving got a hold of him. But I don't. It makes no sense at all. So the investigation that the WBC is going to execute, maybe there was some fudging of those pre-fight weights. It just makes no sense to come in on point the whole time and then be 8 pounds over. So I've never seen anything like that exactly. So just crazy.
All right. So on Andre Ward's scorecard, he gave the first round out of charity, I presume, to McCreary, but every other round he's given to Frampton.
Yeah, I guess Ward does try to. He does give the losers on cards more rounds than most. Maybe he just saw because McCreary was more of an aggressor in the first round. But yeah, it's been a wash for Frampton.
I can only assume McCreary is one of Andre Ward's nephews.
Maybe because it's going to be a shutout. Was close to a stoppage, so I don't really know. Maybe just ESPN commentators making it interesting, but it's really been pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. And then you do have that knockdown earlier in the fight, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that really washes away whatever round you want to give McCreary.
Right. Frampton can tend to just kind of circle on the outside now, kind of float in, sting a few times, circle back. He is not overcommitting. No. I think he realizes that a mistake can be made, and this guy's got some power in those punches, and I think Frampton knows he's got the fight in the bag as long as he can remain calm and don't do anything stupid.
Right. I agree. I think he's, trying to not don't want to take any unnecessary punishment. Like you said, he is ahead on the cards. He can look good while he can show. So in those first rounds, he showed, I can stay in the pocket. I can hurt this guy. For the last 3 rounds, let me show you that I can box on the outside. So I think that however the scores come out, I think one of these, he's going to get a really nice bout under Top Rank coming up next. He looks good tonight. I'm sorry. He looks really good.
Yeah, he looks very sharp. And I think you said he hadn't fought in a year. Is that correct?
Yes, it was almost a year, I think, since he fought last. So he did want to get some rounds, which is turning out. And I don't bemoan McCreary. I'll watch him again. He just has a style that may not be the best for prize fighting.
I'm also wondering if maybe he's in the wrong weight class. Like maybe he needs to go up a little bit. I've never been a huge fan of taller fighters, cutting so much weight that they fight at these shorter weight classes, against guys of Frampton's stature. Because I think that makes life more difficult than it has to be.
Yeah, Sebastian Fundora is just a super tall. The guy tonight who fought at, I believe it was, what's his name? Shearers who fought. Mm-hmm. These guys who are super tall. I don't think lay people understand how much those, just even a couple pounds of weight can affect a punch, So when you have guys who are coming in at 6'3", fighting at 160, you know what I mean? These guys are stepping into some dangerous situations when they get into the ring.
I used to see that in MMA all the time, where you had guys fighting at like featherweight or lightweight, and they were the same height as most middle and light heavyweights. It was like, why don't you just fight at the minimum welterweight and put some muscle on it? Yeah. Maybe try knocking somebody out once in a while. Stop, I'm going to fight at flyweight. I'm 10 feet tall.
Yeah, and that weight, it really, weight behind those punches really does affect, how it feels. So boxing it's crazy, man. You have so many guys doing everything they can to come in as light as they can on weigh-in day. So.
Yes, and then years later they wonder why they can't make weight.
Yeah, or my liver failed me, or I'm so sick and I'm 60, but I look like I'm 80.
Yeah, sure. That's why I like heavyweights. Nobody bothers. Just don't be 300 pounds.
Yeah, and that's, another thing about heavyweight, as we were watching McCreary and Frampton trade punches, McCreary's still walking, Frampton's still walking him down. That's what's special about Deontay to me, because he comes in, he gives up 30, 40 pounds each fight. And will lose every round to land one punch that is just, it's inexplicable.
We are so hard on him on this podcast. Not you, but
right.
The rest of us.
Right.
But you can't take that right hand away from him, because he could lose every round. He could be outboxed, and he was losing the fight to Ortiz.
Yeah.
Ooh,
he hurt him again. You see that?
Yeah.
Ooh, body.
Yeah, down he goes. Another. Ugh. This might be the end.
He hit that one. Hurt him though.
He's looking a little.
He's demoralized. He hasn't been beaten, and let alone beaten like this.
That is 2 10-8 rounds for this fella.
On his bike, running away. Frampton's still working the body.
Yeah, Frampton sees blood in the water right here.
Yeah. Michael
Jackson moonwalks back. He's like, hey, easy. I don't really know the ref's real name, but I call him Michael Jackson. There was some early Showtime boxing cards. I swear to God, he was moonwalking. He was so dramatic.
I believe that's Kenny Bear. Man, he's a good one, man.
Yes,
I don't ever, except for that I will say there was a Mayweather fight where he was super involved. I don't remember which one it was, but for the most part, he does really well. He did well last weekend. Mm-hmm. And he's a pretty good judge. And ref. And Frampton. Frampton looks good, man. He came out wanting to prove something, and I think he did that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He was absolutely in this fight. I mean, it's not the worst fight I've ever seen.
No.
They were active. I mean, it's not like they just circled each other for 10 minutes or anything like that. They fought. It was just a one-sided fight.
Exactly, yeah. McCreary just had no answers for Frampton, who clearly had
double shot to the body there on the replay.
Yeah, great boxing. That's great boxing by Frampton.
It was one to the shoulder, two to the body. McCreary's going to back up, and then plop. No, yep, there it is. Yeah, he took a knee.
He took two to the right and two. And that's some good skill work there by Frampton.
To just put a punctuation mark on the Deontay Wilder thing, what he lacks in technical boxing acumen, he makes up for in the fact that he only has to hit you once. The man hits like a truck.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's weird. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, I was talking to my dad about that. Like Mike Tyson used to end fights in 30 seconds, and then HBO would just kind of hem and haw and shrug for the rest of the hour.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's exciting to see, and because I remember watching the Deontay Wilder Luis Ortiz fight number 1, and I thought Ortiz was going to win.
I think we have a punch to the balls.
Yeah, it's a low blow. Hey, take your time, McCreary. I get it, but it's the 10th round. You need to let your hands go. You taking time for that?
No hitting the speed bag there, Frampton.
That's just an issue with body punchers, technical boxers who are body punchers. You see that so much with the low blow warnings.
There was a fight earlier in the evening where there was a lot of work in the body, and I was saying to my wife, who deigned to watch it with me, I was like, "Boy, a lot of these are on the belt line."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say sometimes it depends on what the ref tells them in the locker room, what's low and whatnot. But I just see it too much if you're a body puncher, you're going to hit someone low once
sure.
in a fight. So, but man, Frampton looks so good letting his hands go, even in the 10th.
Yeah, he knows this guy is toast.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't want to coast to victory here. He's going to fight every minute of this round till it's done. And good on him for it.
Yeah, really still dedicated to the body. I really appreciate that from Frampton. And like I said, I would see McCreary again. We just might have to do some better matchmaking. That's all.
The other difference between Deontay Wilder and Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson could actually box.
Mike Tyson was a pure boxer.
Yeah. Everyone knows him for his power and his quick knockouts and some of the chicanery he would get into later in his career. But if you actually watch Mike Tyson, he had good technical ability.
Yes.
And so I hear, and so we're hard on Deontay Wilder because I know, at least for me, you're getting away with the fact that you hit like a missile. And your technical acumen isn't really where it should be. But then again, as Robert Winfrey would say, it's heavyweight. You can get away with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's different because it is a heavyweight division. And so, but I will say this about Deontay. I have seen progress. He'll never be Mayweather. He'll never be Canelo. He'll never be that technically sound of a fighter. But I do notice that he has been working. But he does box. Whatever technique he learns is limited by that right hand, man. That right hand is so powerful.
Right.
He just forgets everything. It's like, all right, I'm going to land this right. But in that Ortiz fight, I saw patience. I saw shots to the body. And so, I did like that. And if he could do that with someone like Fury and not be so anxious, maybe for a better fight.
We'll see. Fury is not an easy person to hit. And he's so unpredictable and herky-jerky and just... He is constant movement. He looks like a scrambled television set.
Yeah, and for a heavyweight, for someone that big to move like that, I always find it amazing. Right,
and so Deontay Wilder, he got very frustrated in that first fight, and he knocked Tyson Fury down, but, you know, and that could have been the end of the fight, but Tyson Fury got up again. And so the waiting for the opportunity to land the big right, I think now Tyson Fury is looking for it, and February 22nd is going to be an interesting night. You know, anything can happen. Yeah, anything can happen. You know, if he's partying too much with Braun Strowman, we might be looking at a new lineal champion or whatever. But you know, on the other hand, if Deontay Wilder doesn't evolve in any way, I don't see the fight going any differently than it did the first time.
Me either, and that's just I think he has evolved a little bit, but I will say this, you know, it's gonna be a hell of a chess match because, man, no one else can avoid that right hand except for Tyson Fury, and even he couldn't do it that first time. So, this is February 22nd. I'm not gonna make a prediction. I just want to call it and watch it and enjoy it, man, because it's gonna be. That's what we all want. We want two great heavyweights. I wish it was for all the belts, but we want two great heavyweights put on the line and going for broke.
You know, I'll take Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury for his imaginary lineal heavyweight championship. It's fine.
Yeah, me too, man.
You know, and then maybe we'll get to Ruiz or Joshua, whoever ends up winning next week. So annoyed about that. I was telling my wife, I was like, it's in the middle of the day in Saudi Arabia. I have to go find a bathroom at work to go hide in to watch it.
It's ridiculous.
Indeed. All right, so here we go with the scorecards. I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of surprises here.
Frampton, Arum, and Herring. Looks like that's going to be the next fight. Okay. Just like we thought.
Yeah, Frampton wins. Japan. Let me go refresh here and see if we have posted scores yet. They might not. This might be a situation where it's like, you know, he won. Let's not rub this in.
Oof, total wash for Frampton. Dominated from bell to bell, man.
Indeed. All right, and that is your co-main event. Next up, Oscar Valdez versus Adam Lopez. All right, well, we finally have the scores. Let's make it official. No surprises here. No Canelo 120-0. It was Carl Frampton by unanimous decision over Tyler McCreary, 100-88 times 3. No controversy tonight. No controversy. It's pretty much what we expected and what we called. Wouldn't you say there, John?
Yeah, a dominating performance by Frampton. What we expected, what he needed for his next fight with Top Rank.
So, scouring the Twitter pages, a couple of notes that I noticed. One, apparently Carl Frampton broke his hand in training or fractured his hand in training, and then he fractured his hand again during the fight, which is why he went to the body when he did.
Oh, wow.
But whenever his hands heal, it looks like Herring is what's next for Frampton. How do you feel about that?
I believe it's going to be a big fight. Frampton's going to bring the people from across the pond. Herring has a good following in America. I see Herring winning that fight, but I will watch it because I'm not too sure about that. But you know, it's a good matchup. It's a good boxing matchup.
All right, so let's shift gears now. Now, originally we were going to have Oscar Valdez, like we said before. That's like the big news of this fight. If nothing else, it was this big kerfluffle at the weigh-ins where Gutierrez came in 11 pounds over, and Bob Arum unceremoniously tossed him into the street.
Insane.
Right out of the hotel. Like, you'll get out of here, and your little dog, too. So off he went. And now we have Adam Lopez, who was on the undercard, and he made the weight, and they plugged him into this main event to save it. So first, what are your thoughts on the loss of the main event in terms of what you were expecting and now not getting? And then talk to me about this new fight that takes its place, if you're as equally or greater excited for it, or if you're like, oh, this is kind of like kissing your cousin.
Well, I'm not going to say too much about Gutierrez because it's rare where you've seen that kind of thing. All I can say is, don't expect to hear his name ever again in professional boxing. No one's going to pay for that. So, going forward, it just so happens that, man, I am a huge Oscar Valdez fan. I love his style of fighting. So I'm excited to see him fight against anybody. I was disappointed that he vacated and moved up. And so I'm excited to see him fight at this 130. He throws a lot of punches. I've seen him in wars with guys at the lower weight division, so I'm excited to see how he takes these punches at a higher weight division. With one like we just saw with Frampton and McCreary, 130 is full of killers. So let's see where Oscar lines up and ranks with those guys.
All right, what can we expect to see from Adam Lopez, who's jumping up into this main event spot?
Luckily, I've seen Adam Lopez a couple times before. He's a boxer and a brawler. Comes from a boxing family out there in the West Coast where a lot of boxers come from. I expect Oscar to be the forward fighter. Adam Lopez is a skilled boxer, so I expect some good defense, some good counter punching, but I also expect hard punches coming back from Adam.
It would seem like this is one of those opportunities for Adam Lopez where whatever his game plan was going into his originally planned fight, I think he needs to take advantage of the spotlight that's being put on him, because at this point, he has to know that, like, you're just here to save the main event, to give the people something to watch besides the Frampton McCreary fight. Which, if that was all that you were getting,
right.
People would be hitting the bars right now, just trying to go like, what's going on? What did I pay for here? So,
it seems that Adam Lopez is in that position of, hey, save our fight, but he's not that type of fighter. So I think this makes for an interesting main event.
I would like to see Adam Lopez not go for broke necessarily, but turn up the volume early on. Get people to notice him, say his name, be into this fight beyond, you're the replacement fighter, you're the they say in stage acting, you're the backup.
Right.
There's a better name for that, but it's late and I'm tired. But the part of Gutierrez will be played by Adam Lopez tonight. Get that thought out of people's minds early. Make that, because the headline even tomorrow when this fight's over is still going to be about the stupid 11 fucking pounds missed weight.
Unless you get an upset.
Right. Give the writers something else to write. That's my point that I'm trying to make. Even if you don't win, even if you lose in spectacular fashion, change the narrative. That's the phrase I'm looking for here. Change the narrative and take the opportunity, because when you're in a situation like this, I can't remember which fight it was, but there was a fight in the UFC where somebody took it on like ridiculously short notice, like it was like hours, and of course they lost, but they were a hero nonetheless, and they were rewarded later on. Is the point?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I think if Miguel has a loss, so he's not afraid of losing, right? He's not worried about losing that. So he can go in here, really give a good showing. Oscar has had some top-ranked fights on TV in the past where it was less than stellar. So maybe with everything that's going on, not having much time to prepare for Miguel as well, maybe Miguel could take advantage or maybe Adam could take advantage of this opportunity and really, if not pull out the victory, really make it be like, oh, well, I don't know, maybe he won. Oh, that scorecard was a little iffy. Oh, I don't like that. If he can do that, he can really change the trajectory of his career.
Be Chuck Wepner minus the cocaine.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Round one. I just watched The Brawler, so that's fresh in my brain, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm a huge Oscar fan. I like the way he punches. He throws hard punches. He comes forward. He's true Mexican style, but very technical. And so I'm just a huge fan of his fighting style. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table tonight with all the circumstances surrounding this fight.
All right, as we begin here, Valdez is walking Lopez down. Lopez has tried some double jabs. He's pretty not tentative as such, but he's definitely thinking about what he wants to do. Now he's starting to flick that jab a little bit more.
Lopez's jab is stiff, super stiff.
Yeah, he's got some mustard on that.
Yeah. But, again, Lopez, like I said before, Lopez and Valdez know each other from their amateur background, so Lopez does have an extensive background of an amateur. He's just younger.
Pensive.
Oscar, man.
That's the word I was looking for.
Oscar heard him already.
Lopez started the round very pensive. He was kind of eyeing up Valdez, seeing if he had any openings. Now you're starting to see Valdez really turn it on to where he's not, doesn't seem like he really wants to give this guy much. He's like, you know what?
Right.
Everything we said before, Valdez is taking the opposite stance of, I'm not letting you go far in this fight and give up the narrative. The narrative is, I'm the guy and you're the replacement.
If I'm Lopez, I'm thinking Valdez is thinking that, you know what, I am who I am. I should get this guy out of here in a couple of rounds. So I expect Valdez to come with that aggression, but I expect Lopez to expect that as well.
Because, again, I'll say this. If neither one of these guys wants to wake up Monday morning and see on the boxing blogs and, primetime, major sports news outlet the name Gutierrez. They want to be in the headline. They want to be the story. And Valdez doesn't want the story to be, wow, he let this guy from the undercard go 10 rounds with him.
And it's same thing with the co-main event. Valdez is moving up. This is his first fight at this weight. He wants to make a statement so he can get that title fight. It said he's ranked in he's ranked number one in 2 sanctioning bodies at 130. He wants a big name and he wants a title fight. And he's not going to get any, good checks, good fights coming if he lets Adam Lopez basically shine on him this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, round one, and I would have to give that one to Valdez.
Yeah, absolutely. Lopez showed that he has a good stiff jab. He showed that he's game. He showed that he's here. But Valdez threw more power punches, connected on more power punches as well.
But I liked what I saw from Lopez to start. I mean, he was game. As I said before, he was very pensive. I saw him really trying to measure Valdez. You look and see in the replay, he hit him with a good combo, and Valdez, he stumbled.
Yeah, I mean, Lopez is legitimate. If Lopez had a full camp, this would be a closer fight. Right now, you have to approach it as if, these two guys are going to here sparring. And I'm just excited to see whose style comes out on top because Lopez is a legitimate boxer. Valdez is just more accomplished, more experienced.
Sure. And I believe Lopez was on the card. He just got pulled from the prelim, jumped all the way into the main. which happens.
So we can assume he had a full camp.
Yeah. I don't know how long his fight was set for, if it was 6 rounds or not.
Right. Yeah, I don't know any of that information, which, this is a 10-rounder, so yeah, I don't know. The last time I saw him fight, it was either 8 or a 10-rounder. He stopped the guy, so it doesn't, really matter. But Lopez is legitimate, though. This is good for I like Lopez against Valdez better than Gutierrez. Gutierrez would have been more straightforward, one of us is going to knock each other out. So Lopez is giving him more of a test, boxing-wise, at this weight than Gutierrez would.
Lopez goes head to the head, to the body with jabs. Valdez, though,
he likes his jab.
He does. Valdez has definitely been stalking him, though, this entire second round.
Absolutely.
And he's backing him up into the corner now with jabs. Lopez circles out. But I'll tell you what, Valdez has got to have a higher landed percentage this round than Lopez does. I mean, he's conservatively punching, but he's landing when he punches. Yeah.
And every opportunity he has to let more than one punch go, he does throw it. And we talk about, he knocked the, oh, God.
Not a good look for Valdez.
No.
Knocked down in the second round. He jumped right back up. He was like, sun was in my eyes. I got this.
The arm was a little stiff, though, when he was trying to get up. Look, it's, like I said, Mark, that weight is a real thing. Like, these guys move up 4 pounds. They think it's not a big deal. No, those punches are weighty. So, I don't like that knockdown, but we got a fight on our hands, Mark.
Lopez put some starch on that overhand.
Yeah, he did. And he's being smart. He's not over-punching at this point, but he's still putting the pressure on.
No, Lopez hasn't lost his cool. He's not going crazy. He doesn't quite see blood in the water yet. It's only round 2.
Right.
But I'll tell you, I mean, knockdown or no knockdown, that was a round for Lopez.
Yeah, and that changes this fight. The judges are going to see the rounds differently now, right? They're going to respect the power punches that Lopez's lands in relation to the punches that Valdez's lands going forward. So good on Lopez. And like I said, Oscar in his last few performances, he has had some lackluster performances. He has been hittable, which is probably one of the reasons I like his style. So we need him in his corner to, fix it.
Lopez cracked him dead in the jaw with a left hook.
Yeah. Lopez looks good.
Just a snapping left hook. Brilliant combo by Lopez. And Valdez's legs went right out from under him.
Yeah. And I mean, for the Reynosos, he's their top guy next to Canelo. If anybody can fix it, outside of Robert Garcia, I think the Reynosos could tell Oscar to, let's tighten it up.
All right, here we go with round 3. Valdez is coming forward still. He's not willing to give Lopez any quarter.
Super aggressive, though. Over aggressive is not going to work for you, Oscar.
I'll tell you, Lopez keeps walking. Sorry, not Lopez. Valdez keeps walking into Lopez's bear trap.
Yeah, for sure. Lopez, all the fights that I've seen, Lopez does like to fight off the back foot. He is a boxer in that sense. But like I said, he throws hard punches. He doesn't, he's not just, McCreary was just trying to point. He was trying to get points on Frampton. Lopez, as we see, he's trying to knock you down. He's trying to knock you out.
Yeah, we have a very entertaining fighter in our hands so far.
Yeah. We're definitely not going to get a short fight, at least in Oscar's favor on this card.
Hey, Valdez is moving Lopez around the ring now.
Yeah.
Valdez stops short, goes to the body. Sorry, Lopez. Oof, this fight. Nice stiff jab there from Lopez. Just snaps it.
Yeah, that jab is... it's legitimate.
I'll drag my son out of his room and watch. Say, here, that's how you snap a jab.
Most important punch in boxing, man.
Absolutely. But a lot of guys, like, they'll throw it out there, and, you know, they'll have the natural strength of their arm and shoulder. But what I like from Lopez is just how fast he fires that thing off like a bullet.
Yeah. I don't mind switching up the velocity of your jab or your punches. I don't mind you, blinding your opponent with a jab. Some people will hold it out there, but when you throw that jab, twist that fist, make it count, man. It's a punch. It's a punch like any other punch you throw, and you can tell the fighters whose trainers really, focus and emphasize that jab. Lopez being one, and Valdez as well. Valdez has a good jab as well.
Lopez is oscillating between fighting defensively, like counterpunching, and taking it to Valdez. Like he'll let Valdez come to him. He'll duck, he'll bob and weave, and then he'll score on the inside on the counter, and then he'll wait a minute, and then he'll start attacking.
Yeah, he looks comfortable. He looks under control. It's making for a good fight, man.
So in the replay there, Lopez actually took one in the jaw himself, and he thought about it, but he kept coming forward. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there it is. See, okay, so Valdez didn't even have an opportunity to really follow up on it, because it's a great punch.
Right, but he got countered.
He got countered immediately, and Lopez, to his credit, now I guess walk through would be the phrase that I would use, but basically once he got his jaw back from being shook, he kept going. He kept throwing punches. So good on him.
So Oscar got out of his corner, banged his gloves together. He's really anxious to get in there. I'm glad that he wants to get those points back from that knockdown, but I don't like he's being over aggressive, and so I'm just hoping his corner is telling him, be smart in your aggression, because over aggressive, I don't care who you are, it just you start to open yourself up. Good. And Lopez is clearly fine with what Oscar is bringing to the table.
Good counter from Lopez. See, there's an example of what I'm talking about. He bobbed and weaved. He countered. He hit. He reset, and then he went on the attack. Like, he's not just content just to wait for Valdez.
Yeah, for sure. And even the power punches he's letting Valdez get off, he's letting him roll off his shoulder. They're not connecting clear. He's doing a good job of managing energy.
I would say those last two rounds I would have to give to Lopez for sure.
Yeah, man. I think one of them might, could be a 50-50, but Lopez looks, man, so far through 4, he looks great. He looks to be in the lead, especially with the knockdown. Ooh. Valdez landed two straight to the jaw.
He almost clawed him with, I think, the left there.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't so much of a punch as it was not a gouge per se, but just he sort of painted him with it.
Yeah. Man, this is a really high level fight. If you look at both these guys are at range in the pocket and on the outside at the same time, it seems.
Sweeping right from Valdez to the body.
Yeah. See, Valdez is really letting his hands go, which has really got to help him on the scorecards. He's not really letting any lulls happen. Does that make sense?
Sure. No, absolutely. he's going after Lopez. The problem is about 50% of the time, Lopez is right in there, and Lopez has gotten the better of some of those exchanges.
Here's what I will say. I like the work from Lopez. I like the accuracy from Lopez. Oscar Valdez is doing what he does. I would hate to be a judge in this fight because...
yeah, I judged some amateur MMA here in the Tampa area, and there were definitely some rounds where I just kind of threw the pen and the paper in the air and went, I don't know.
Yeah. But I will say, Oscar, I'll say it, man, because it's the reality. Oscar's a side of a top-ranked headlining card. So all these rounds that are 50-50 to us may not be to those three judges. So it's just, I'm keeping track. Adam's looking good. Right now we have Adam ahead, but I don't know if these judges are going to be on the same page as us.
Well, I would give that fourth round to Valdez.
Oh, absolutely.
The stuff that we saw, knockdown aside from Lopez in rounds 2 and 3, I didn't see as much of it here. I think Lopez took a few shots between rounds 3 and 4 that he didn't love, and maybe his corner's telling him tighten it up a bit. Maybe he's feeling like, well, I don't want to get hit like that again, so let me tighten it up. But he's letting his hands go less, and while he's still, like I said, shifting between counterpunching and going forward, I saw less activity in round 4 than I saw in the previous 2 rounds, which I don't love. Yeah.
Well, I do know Buddy likes to protect his fighters, so he's going to keep it real with Lopez. Like, hey, Oscar's landing too much. But remember how I said, like, it seems like they're fighting in the pocket and at range at the same time? I think that was the change that Valdez made, because when he got knocked down, he stood in the pocket with it. I think he thought my power is more than your power. And since then, Oscar's been landing, but he hasn't been in the pocket. So I think him and his team have said, hey, let's work that 1-2 from the outside before we even think about going inside. And it's been paying off.
Yeah, I think an inside fight with Lopez is a disaster for Valdez at this juncture.
Yeah, I think so. I think he figured out, like, hey, this guy has too much power and he can handle it in there. When usually Oscar is the guy knocking people down.
Good work to the body there from Valdez. See, now we're starting to see Lopez turn it up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see some swelling under that left eye for Valdez.
We're seeing more work from Lopez this round. He's starting to get some of that fire back that he lost in round 4, almost like he took it off. I have to imagine his corner was like, don't take your foot off the gas pedal. I know getting hit sucks, but that's the name of the game. Get in there and fight.
Yeah, and I also think that Lopez, in the past, what I've seen him, when he'll box you as much as he can, and then when he sees the opening, he'll take it. And I think in this fight, he's going to have to box and fight. Let me be a boxer, but also, let these hands go as well. Because Oscar's not going to stop. He's not going to give up. You have to knock him out.
Cardio for days.
Otherwise, yeah, like it's just, that's the type of fighter he is.
What I like from Valdez, and we've been talking about it for the duration, but just to put a name on it, high volume punching.
Yeah.
He's not tremendously accurate, but boy, does he throw a lot.
Yeah. And you have to, man, and that's, Lopez is looking good now. If you lack in some area, but you know that you moved up in weight, you're not going to knock everybody out. But if you know that your tank is better and you can get off more punches, man, you got to let those punches go. And Oscar has never not let his hands go, almost to his detriment. So, keep letting them go now. Be heavy behind him and give us some good fights. He looks good right now, but he's in a brawl.
Valdez has switched up his game plan between rounds 1 and that is the end of round 5. Because he's not walking Lopez down like he was. That last little bit there, especially, he was circling, but he was fighting off the back foot, which, as we talked about in the previous fight, and especially with Shakur Stevenson and whoever the heck it was, whose girlfriend is the fighter, it's the brother that he a bitch. That's all I remember about that fight.
Yeah.
Gonzalez, that's who it was. It was Shakur Stevenson and Gonzalez.
Yeah.
You know, if you can fight off that back foot and still be evasive, then good on you. Do it. It's a great strategy. And Valdez, I think, is trying to get away with that.
Yeah, Shakur has fought that way his whole life at an elite level, so that's why. But Oscar, as well, is that elite level of boxer, so he might have that in his bag. For the most part, though, man, he wants to walk through you with his punches. So it's going to be interesting how this last half of this fight goes, man. Because
you don't want to you don't want to tuck your chin and run headfirst into a wall either.
Right.
And so smart fighters know, you know, if something isn't working, change tactics. Oh,
right.
Speaking of which, now we're back to him just stampeding forward, man. He bullied Lopez into the corner.
Yeah.
Just charged at him like Goldberg.
I just don't understand. I mean, I honestly don't. I mean, I can't hear what they're saying in the corner. So, but it's almost like he doesn't respect Lopez's power, which at this point, how could you not?
Valdez is back in this fight, though, on the scorecards.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Since he's been knocked out, I think he's won a majority of the rounds. I mean, knocked down.
Yeah, I've got him 1-4-5 to Lopez's 2-3.
Okay. And like you said, his output is just higher. So it just looks good. It looks better. And I'm wondering if Lopez now is thinking, oh, I have the power to finish this dude, instead of my game plan is to box this dude for 10 rounds. I just don't know. You know, it's interesting.
That was a fun little shuffle by Lopez, by the way.
Yeah.
Lopez has got this guy in his sights. He's looking to finish this thing. Look at his stance.
That's what I'm thinking. I was just looking at his feet. I'm like, his feet look a little awkward, but he looks ready to jump in there.
Yeah. Well, it looks like he's leaning forward a little bit. He's got that lead foot kind of planted because he wants to throw fire.
Yeah, a nice counter.
So what I think he's doing is he's kind of loading up in his stance, waiting for Valdez to throw something, and then he's going to hit back hard with a counter.
Yeah. And I also think with Lopez, I think the consistent output by Oscar, I think he's timing some of his punches at this point too. He's starting to figure out that it's not just straight output. I can time some of the jabs, and it's starting to pay off for him because his counters have been on point in that round.
I didn't love Valdez in that round. I'm going to give it to Lopez.
Absolutely. Lopez looked really good, comfortable in that round. Looked like he hadn't been hurt so far. So, man, this is a great fight, man. I did not expect this.
So the story of that round, as you know, we were talking about Valdez turning up the volume, going after Lopez. That round, I don't know if he is getting pensive or he just needed to take a round off because he was feeling a little tired. I'm not really sure, but he changed the level of his output significantly.
Yeah, and he negated a lot of Valdez's output, which helped. And so, because even like with that replay, they show him with that counter, he didn't follow it up with another 3 punches, kind of walked away and kind of, showed off. So, I'm not going to decry his tank, but I need to see, in a situation like that,
Okay.
Valdez is not going to showboat. He's going to throw 3 or 4 more punches at you.
So Andre Ward had it more or less the same as us. He's got it 57-56 for Lopez.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh, good combo by Lopez. Andre Ward seems to go for the underdog a lot in fights. But Lopez really does. You can't fault Andre Ward for his card at this point.
Lopez can tend to let Valdez come to him.
Yeah. Lopez is starting to use he's naturally the bigger guy. He's starting to use it a little bit more. It's going to be very interesting to see how the judges are scoring these fights, man. This fight. Oh!
Yep.
Well, there goes that knockdown.
Yeah, I was going to say, Valdez just canceled out that knockdown.
Yep. And see, Valdez is not going to wait. He's going to pounce.
Yeah. Lopez just kind of gave him the side of his head there as a big target, and he's continuing to do so.
Valdez has got to turn over those hooks. This was they are giving us a good fight that I just did not, I didn't see it going this long, man. I knew Lopez was game, but I just thought Valdez was going to come in and put more, put punches together better in the beginning.
Okay, Valdez smells blood in the water. He's not giving Lopez. He's breaking Lopez down. Lopez's legs are not totally under him at this point after that knockdown.
No. Valdez started to connect on everything, too. Ooh. See, this is where I feel Valdez's experience is taking over in the fight.
Another overhand.
Oh!
Yep.
Ooh, I don't feel good about that stoppage, Mark.
No.
And you know what I was thinking when he knocked him down? I said, hey, watch for a weird stoppage of a main event. Hey, man, top rank diet, man.
Lopez looked at the ref like, what are you doing? Get off me.
Yeah. I don't like the stoppage. Oscar was going to win, but I don't like that stoppage.
All right, so here's the thing. We don't know, in the ref's defense, okay? I'm going to put on my defense attorney hat.
Okay.
In the ref's defense, as you would in MMA, if you feel like the fighter is just taking damage and doesn't have an opportunity and really a chance of coming back or defending himself, you are obliged to stop the fight so that the fighter does not take unnecessary damage. It's hard, and that's the difference between, the refs and us, is they have to make a split second call in the ring. So he lets that fight keep going, which I probably would have. Mm-hmm. And maybe we get a more definitive knockdown.
Right.
Okay? But is that really fair to Lopez? I mean, if you can see into the future from your vantage point and you're thinking to yourself, the guy's going to get knocked down, he's going to get knocked out, so let me stop it now and save him from further damage. Well, then the ref's kind of in the right.
Right.
The problem is you don't know.
Right.
Pat Barry and Czech Congo went one way until it didn't.
Right.
Like,
I don't agree with the ref stopping a fight and the guys moving away from the ropes.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. But look, I've seen that happen.
I understand. This has been a rough year for fights. This has been a rough year, so I get it. But I just want to be fair to Lopez. He, that's all.
So let's watch the replay here. I mean, Valdez is just teeing off on him.
Yeah.
as you watch the replay, 1, 2, these are clean shots that are landing. These are not going bouncing off the glove or anything. But this is going to hit him again. Boom. 3, 4. I mean, the rule in MMA is intelligently defending yourself. He took 4 unanswered shots, unprotected. Yep. And that's when the ref was like, all right, no more.
Right. So, okay, so I agree with you. Whenever that happens, I say, hey, if he was hitting Oscar Valdez that way, would he have stopped it?
Probably not. Brock Lesnar knocked out cold by, I can't remember the fight he had before Cain Velasquez. Literally knocked out cold in the first round, according to Brock Lesnar. But the ref let it go, and Brock eventually woke up and got out of the first round.
Wow.
Because Brock was champion and Brock was money, but maybe the ref was smoking opium at the time. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's hard. I get it. It's tough. And not to put too fine a point on it, but where we have the advantage of watching this on television from our respective living rooms, he's right there in between them, and he's obligated to protect the fighters.
Right.
Look,
right.
I've seen some shit-ass stoppages, and I'll call them shit-ass when they are. I get why you're like, too soon.
Yeah, this was not horrible. Yeah, you're right. I've seen worse.
Yeah. I'm not going to... I haven't seen what, if Twitter's, ready to burn down the Cosmopolitan or not. But,
right.
But I'm going to go ahead and say it's fine.
Right. And for Lopez, I want to see him again. It's not any shame losing to Oscar Valdez. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm not disappointed. I'm disappointed for Lopez because I feel he probably feels, but I'm not. The referee standpoint, I don't blame him at all. This has been a rough year. These refs have been told like, hey, protect these fighters.
Yeah,
so,
dude, a guy on the Usyk card, a guy died.
Yes.
Patrick Day.
Yeah, too many people have been killed or maimed this year in the ring, and so whatever it takes. Yeah, we don't like it in the moment, but in the end, both these guys are going home to their families. I
mean, it's not like that, my last word on this. They let the sheriff fight go to the end. That guy's face looked like he'd gone through, the windshield.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he was defending himself. He was moving. He was clearly winning rounds because he won the fight. I haven't seen too many people really, really upset about that one. So, yeah, it is what it is. All right. Yeah. Well, this was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was those were 2 really fun fights. First one that we've done together where we've only done 2, and this is number 2. But this is the first time. We normally just do the main events, but this time I really wanted to talk about the Frampton fight, so I was happy that you obliged me. And the next one will be on December 13th. We'll be doing Ortiz Jr. versus Solomon on DAZN. That's probably going to be it for December. December is kind of a crushed month, a lot going on, and there's holidays and whatnot. But January, we're going to try to get a few more in. We've got some cards on the 11th we're going to look at, plus some MMA. We've got some pro wrestling. So there's always something happening here on the Rattle Legend Broadcasting Network. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you got going on?
Just the same old. Still doing work for hoopsandbrews.com/boxing. And you can find us on Twitter at Boxing and Brews. And at Insecurity Guide, man, just more boxing, more sports, keeping up with everything, giving up-to-date news, making videos, doing multimedia, anything and everything for boxing, man.
All right. Thank you for joining me on this podcast, John. And I want to thank everybody else for listening. This has been our coverage of Valdez versus Lopez, and Frampton comes alive versus McCreary. Be well, be safe, and behave.